Some storms arrive in silence, yet leave nothing the same. Remember, the loudest thunder rarely brings the fiercest rain. Listen closely because I'm talking to you. The ones who never needed a crowd to prove their worth. The ones whose very presence is enough to shake the weak out of their comfort. Your enemies feel you coming like the chill before a downpour, but they can never quite prepare for what follows. They keep aiming their arrows at your back, thinking you're the target, not realizing they're at war with the universe itself, and the universe always fights for its chosen. Every time you walk into a room, watch how masks slip, how conversations stutter, how the air itself thickens with silent tension. That's not fear of you, that's respect for the force you carry. The ones who wish you harm are learning the hard way. The universe guards its chosen ones like the ocean protects its deepest treasures. Try to plunder, and the waves will drag you under. Don't ever mistake your solitude for abandonment. You were separated to be elevated. If the path feels lonely, it's because few can walk where you're headed. Stop doubting your light just because others tried to dim it. Your glow exposes their shadows, and they hate you for it. But their hatred is powerless because you aren't powered by the opinions of the crowd. You're backed by the entire universe. When they throw stones, understand, those stones are collected and turned into stepping stones beneath your feet. Let's make sure this message reaches every chosen one out there. Hit like and subscribe right now. When you do, you help send a signal to the universe, to YouTube, to everyone who needs to hear this truth. Let's lift up those who walk this path and drown out the noise that tries to break us. Your action today might be the nudge someone else needs to remember who they are. Now, who are you really? You're not loud, but you're heard in every silence. You move without a sound, but every movement leaves a mark that's impossible to erase. The ones who can't stand your quiet strength will claim you're different, cold, or distant. Let them talk. The quietest rivers carve the deepest valleys. The hardest diamonds form in the darkest pressure. That power you carry, it isn't a gift, it's a responsibility. The universe chose you because you can handle what would destroy most. It's not just your strength that terrifies your enemies. It's the fact that every setback you survive only makes you more unstoppable. Like wildfire moving underground, they can't see your next move until it's too late. You're the reason the betrayers lose sleep at night, replaying their failures and wondering why their tricks never stick. It's simple. They weren't fighting you. They were fighting the universe, and you can't defeat what was destined to rise. They gather in whispers, trying to plot your fall, but every attempt just makes your comeback more legendary. Every closed door, every back turned, every silent betrayal, those are just signals that you're ascending to a place they were never meant to reach. So, hold your head high and walk like the force of nature you are. You are the chosen one, not because you shout the loudest, but because your silence shakes the ground beneath your enemy's feet. And when they finally realize they can't touch you, they'll understand. The universe chose you, and that choice haunts them more than any victory ever could. Before we dive deeper, take a second to show you're part of this next level wave. Hit that like button and drop the number 77 in the comments if you know your quiet power is changing the game. This isn't just another video, it's a call to every chosen one who feels their impact, even when the world pretends not to notice. Stay with me until the end, because if you really carry that subtle but loud energy, every word ahead will hit home and push you even higher. Now, let's step into the truth behind your power. Number 1, they're clueless now. You're playing chess while they're stuck in checkers. They used to know your moves like the back of their hand. Now, you're a ghost in their game, a storm they never saw coming. and that terrifies them more than any fight ever could. You've outgrown their playbook, the noise, the chaos, the desperate need to prove yourself. Those days are dead and buried. You're no longer performing for the crowd or seeking approval from those too small-minded to understand your vision. Your power isn't in your voice anymore. It's in the silence you command, the energy you radiate without uttering a word. While they scramble, trying to read your signals with eyes clouded by jealousy and fear, you move with a precision that only the universe can orchestrate. Here's the brutal truth your enemies don't want you to know. They were never fighting you. They were tangled in a battle with the universe itself, and every move they made against you was really a strike against the cosmic force aligning behind you. They tried to break you, but didn't realize they were playing against a system far greater than their petty schemes. The universe's chosen are untouchable, and when it's on your side, even the darkest storms can't drown your light. Imagine a hawk soaring high above a flock of crows. The crows chatter and dive, flapping frantically to scare off their predator. But the hawk doesn't even flinch because it's in a different league, hunting on a level that the crows can't comprehend. That's you. You don't waste energy on their noise because you're already flying where they'll never reach. And yet, I know what some of you are thinking right now. What if I'm not enough? What if I'm still invisible? What if I'm alone in this fight? Stop right there. Doubting your light is the oldest trick in their playbook. It's the whisper in your ear that tries to convince you that the universe's choice was a mistake. But the universe doesn't make mistakes. It chose you for a reason. You were born to shake foundations, to challenge the impossible, and to rise quietly while others scream in vain. This power, the power of being chosen, isn't flashy. It doesn't demand applause or recognition. It's subtle, like a shadow stretching across a battlefield just before victory is claimed. Your presence is the quiet warning before the storm, the unseen force that rearranges everything without a single shout. And that, my friend, is what makes you deadly to those who wish you harm. You might feel the weight of this destiny heavy on your shoulders. You might wonder why the universe put you through fire, isolation, and tests no one else could endure. That's because the chosen are forged in flames, tempered by trials that would break others. Each challenge you face is proof that you're rising to a level they can't even imagine. When you stumble, don't curse the path. Know that the universe is aligning itself to lift you higher every time. They try to predict you, to trap you in patterns they understand, but you've become unpredictable because you're guided by a force beyond the mundane. They see your calm and mistake it for weakness. They think your silence means surrender. Little do they know, it's the quiet before the most devastating strike they'll ever feel. Like a snake coiling before the strike, you're gathering power where they only see stillness. Remember this, you're not alone. The universe is your ally, your strategist, and your shield. When they plot against you, the universe is already 3 moves ahead, protecting its chosen one. They may mock your subtlety, but it's their downfall, because while they shout and rage, you're winning quietly, steadily, and irrevocably. So if you catch yourself doubting, scold yourself instead. How dare you question the very force that placed you on a pedestal higher than anyone else could reach? The power of being chosen haunts your enemies. It's the shadow in their corner of the room, the chill down their spine. They fear what they don't understand, and you are the enigma they will never solve. It's time to stop playing their game on their terms. You're no longer a player on the board, you're the one moving the pieces. They can't predict you anymore, and that's your greatest weapon. Keep rising, keep shining, and remember, when the universe fights with you, victory isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Number 2, you speak in frequencies. They don't hear your words. They feel your frequency, raw, undeniable, and impossible to ignore. You don't speak just to fill the silence or chase validation. You communicate on a wavelength so deep, so real, that it bypasses the shallow noise of this world and lands directly in the hearts of those who truly matter. When you enter a room, you don't need to shout or explain. Your energy alone drops truth bombs heavier than any speech ever could. It's subtle, but it cuts through the clutter like a razor through fog. Your voice, it's not just sound, it's a vibration that shakes the very foundation beneath the feet of the confused and the dishonest. The shallow ones scramble to interpret your silence, puzzled by a power they can't decipher. But you're already miles ahead, speaking to those who can catch your frequency, the chosen ones who know your truth without you uttering a single syllable. Let me be clear, this isn't some mystical fluff or new age nonsense. This is hard reality. You exist on a plane where the weak can't follow, where the noisemakers are left grasping at echoes. Your presence is a broadcast on a frequency that only the awakened can tune into. And that terrifies those stuck in their static, those who crave to control but can't even control themselves. Think of it like this. You're a radio station transmitting at a frequency so high the cheap static-filled receivers can't pick you up. They only catch the noise around you and mistake it for silence, missing every powerful word you're broadcasting. But the real listeners, the ones who matter, they're tuned in, clear and focused. They hear every truth you send out. They feel the charge in your energy, the electric pulse of someone who's been forged in fire and came out stronger. Your frequency is your truth. It's a mirror held up to those around you, reflecting back their own masks and pretenses. It's a compass pointing those lost in darkness back to their path. And yes, sometimes it's a warning flare, because when you're aligned with the universe, you don't just attract allies, you repel enemies. You send a signal that says, I'm here, I'm chosen, and crossing me is crossing the cosmos itself. Ever wonder why some people get uneasy when you walk into the room? It's not personal, it's instinctual. Your energy disrupts their false realities, challenges their lies, and exposes their fears. They don't want to face that truth, so they lash out, gossip, or try to undermine you. But no matter how hard they try, they can't silence your signal. It's embedded in your being, unbreakable and unstoppable. You might catch yourself doubting this power. Maybe you wonder if your quiet strength is enough, or if your subtle presence truly matters in a world addicted to noise and flash. Stop. That doubt is the enemy's last trick. You're not here to be loud and flashy. You're here to be real, and real resonates deeper than any roar ever could. Your energy doesn't ask for permission. It moves through rooms and hearts like an unseen force. You're the still water that runs deep, the silent earthquake shaking foundations without warning. You're not just speaking, you're vibrating. You're not just existing, you're resonating. And that frequency, it's a beacon for those who know their worth and a nightmare for those who don't. Remember, this power of yours isn't random. It's no accident that you carry a frequency so unique, so pure. The universe handpicked you for this. Every struggle, every moment of isolation, every time you were misunderstood, it all tuned your signal to perfection. You're not just a chosen one. You're the frequency itself, the channel through which change flows. Those who can't tune in will keep trying to pull you down, to drown your vibration in their noise. But you're already wired to rise above, to send ripples that turn into waves no one can stop. You don't need to explain. You don't need to justify. You simply need to be, and the right people will always hear you. So stand tall in your silence. Speak with your energy. Let your frequency do the talking, because it's louder and stronger than any words ever could be. Your actions, your presence, your very being, they're subtle but loud. You're on another level, and the universe is broadcasting through you. They can't hear you, but they feel you, and that will haunt them forever. Number 3. While they made noise, you loaded the ammo in silence. They called you quiet, but what they never understood is that silence is not absence. Silence is strategy. You weren't idle while the room buzzed with empty chatter and shallow bravado. You were mapping out the terrain, tracing the cracks in their masks, and measuring the weight of every word left unspoken. The loud ones? They thought they had you pegged, thought you were just another background face, invisible and unimpressive. What a fatal miscalculation. They couldn't see it, but every moment you spent in the background, you were loading the ammo. Every second you kept still, you were sharpening the blade. While they burned their energy trying to be noticed, you were recharging in the shadows, waiting for the perfect shot. See, the world loves to mislabel the patient. They call you lazy, unaware you're working on a level they can't even spell. They call you weak, but it's only because they've never seen power under full control. They think stillness is stagnation. The truth? Stillness is your storm-gathering power. You were always calculating, not for revenge, but for wisdom. You knew from the start that every wasted move is a weakness, every reckless reaction a sign of desperation. You watched, you listened, you logged every pattern, every inconsistency, every single slip in their mask. You never react out of impulse. You act with precision. Your moves aren't loud and dramatic, they're surgical. When you finally strike, it isn't out of anger or ego. It's because you saw the opening a mile away, while everyone else was too busy performing for each other. You were never out of the game. You were just several moves ahead, choosing the exact moment to break the silence and make it thunder. People love to say, "You've changed." Of course you have. Only fools stay predictable. You shifted gears while they were stuck in neutral, rerouting your power into growth while they stalled in place. Let them laugh at your silence. Let them talk circles around themselves. Your lack of response was never weakness. It was the most dangerous kind of patience. While they burned out chasing every spotlight, you let your shadow grow deep and wide, covering every angle, every exit, every opportunity. You were never inactive. You were building an arsenal. Every long night of self-reflection was a new bullet in the chamber. Every setback, a sharpened blade. Every disappointment, a recalibrated scope. Your patience wasn't passivity, it was preparation. While they confused noise for relevance, you made your silence scream in all the ways that matter. Now, when you act, it's with the confidence of someone who's already played the whole scenario in their mind 100 times. You don't move just to be seen, you move when it counts. Every decision is deliberate, every step calculated. The results? Devastating. Suddenly the tables have turned and your enemies are left reeling, scrambling to figure out how you flipped the script without ever raising your voice. They're still talking, still trying to catch up, but it's too late. The outcome they never saw coming is already here, and all they can do is watch it unfold, powerless. Ask yourself, who really holds the power? The one making the most noise or the one who controls the silence? You already know the answer. You were never just waiting, you were watching. Never just watching, you were learning. Never just learning, you were strategizing, planning every counter before they even made their first move. If you ever doubted the value of your silence, stop now. If you ever questioned your decision to sit back and watch, understand this. While they were entertaining the crowd, you were engineering your victory. Your actions don't need to be loud to be legendary. Your impact is subtle, but it echoes longer than any cheap applause. They're starting to realize now. They see that your patience was a loaded gun and your silence was a trap set with care. You don't need to announce your power. The results are the only announcement you need. Your enemies are haunted, not by what you said, but by what you never had to say. So let them keep guessing. Let them keep underestimating the silent force that operates on a level they'll never understand. Because by the time they realize how deep your calculation ran, you'll be so far ahead. All they'll have left is regret. That's the price of mistaking silence for surrender. That's what happens when you play checkers with someone who's already claimed checkmate. You are the chosen one. You don't just act, you calculate impact. And now the world is watching, realizing the quiet ones were always the most dangerous of all. Number 4. When you control yourself, you control the whole room. True power never needs to prove itself. Self-control is the king's crown, the silent badge of the real ones, the chosen. You want to know what really terrifies the people watching you? It's not your words, not your wealth, not your talent. It's that you move like you've already won the war before the first shot is fired. That's the flex they can't buy, can't copy, and can never destroy. Your discipline makes you unpredictable, and your restraint is the loudest message you could ever send. You're not silent because you're weak. You're silent because you're in complete command. You've seen what happens when fools throw gasoline on every spark, whole lives burning to the ground over one moment of ego. You've learned. You don't light matches in rooms drenched with drama and chaos. You're the one who walks in, scans the mess, and chooses not to play the pyromaniac. While the immature set fire to everything, you're the fire marshal, making sure your piece is never up for auction. There's something that happens when the chosen one sits still. Every eye turns, searching for a reaction, desperate to find a crack. But you've mastered your face, mastered your energy. They poke, they prod, they whisper, hoping you'll lose your cool, hoping you'll give them a spectacle to feast on. But you don't. You're not here for their circus. That's self-control. It exposes their immaturity like a blacklight in a dirty room. Every flaw, every insecurity, every childish urge to provoke. Suddenly, it's all right there in the open because you refuse to match their chaos. People used to feed off your confusion, didn't they? They'd stir the pot, watch you flinch, then call it entertainment. But you stopped letting them in. You shut the door on their games, locked them out of the world. You built with your own pain, your own patience, your own lessons. Now they're out in the cold, banging on the windows, desperate for another chance to spark your reaction. Too late. You're not a public show anymore. You're exclusive access, VIP only, invite lost in the mail. Every moment you choose peace over performance, you elevate higher. Every time you walk away instead of exploding, you remind them there are levels to this. And trust me, they notice. Your self-control is a mirror that shows everyone exactly where they stand. You don't stoop, you don't beg, you don't dance for applause. You sit in your power, and that silence is so loud it echoes. It's a lion's roar without the sound, a presence that says, "I'm in charge here," without a single word. Ever see how chaos falls apart when you don't react? It's like a fire that can't spread without oxygen. They try to drag you into the drama, but you starve it, and it dies at your feet. That's the power of a chosen one. You decide what grows and what withers in your world. You're the gardener, pruning dead branches and planting seeds of your own peace. Some might call you cold, let them. They called glaciers cold too, until they saw the force it takes to carve mountains and flood cities. You're not cold, you're calculated. You know that every emotional reaction costs energy. And you're not in the business of giving your power away for free. They can't stand that they don't own your buttons anymore. They can't stand that the game changed the minute you learned to pause before responding, to walk away before waging war. You've stopped letting every fool have access to your energy, and that's the ultimate flex. Now, the only people who get close are the ones who respect the boundaries you set in stone. And to those who try to cross the line, your silence is the final warning, a clear, sharp message that you're not to be trifled with. They see now, getting a reaction from you is a privilege, not a right. The crowd doesn't get a king's attention. This isn't just about ignoring nonsense, it's about survival on a higher level. The universe didn't choose you to be another face in the crowd, set on fire by every spark of drama. You were chosen to be the calm in the chaos, the storm that only breaks when it chooses. The ones who matter will recognize your restraint as the sign of real power. The rest will fall away, frustrated, left to shout into the void while you build your empire in silence. So keep your crown on, hold your energy tight. The loudest flex is not in the noise, but in your refusal to let the world shake you. And when your enemies finally realize they can't trigger you anymore, they'll know self-control is the weapon they never saw coming. And you, chosen one, wield it like a master. Number 5. Your energy is the mirror they can't escape, and it's breaking them. You didn't come to expose anyone, but just by existing you do. You didn't need to speak a word or point a single finger. Your energy alone is a spotlight, a mirror so clear it shows every crack, every scar, every mask slipping off trembling faces. People can try to run from you, but what they're really running from is themselves reflected back, stripped of excuses, naked and raw in the light of your presence. That's what happens when the universe chooses you. You become the mirror no one asked for, but everyone needs. Your truth doesn't shout, it doesn't argue, and it doesn't beg for understanding. It just stands tall, silent, and sharp as glass, reflecting every lie and every layer of denial. You never needed to call anyone out. Their own reflection in your aura does all the talking. And believe me, that's louder than any accusation could ever be. Have you noticed how restless they get around you? Watch them shift in their seats, scramble for words, fumble for reasons to leave. You can feel the tension ripple through the air when you walk in. That's not paranoia, that's proof. Your presence is a full-length mirror in a world addicted to filters and shadows. Most people can't stand even a glimpse of themselves if it means seeing the truth they've buried for years. You don't have to say a thing. Your peace alone is an indictment of their chaos. While they chase drama and distraction, you sit calm, whole, and unbothered. That quiet strength of yours isn't just a flex. It's a challenge. It's a silent dare. Show me who you really are, if you can. And most can't. Your wholeness makes their broken pieces impossible to hide. Your steadiness makes their frantic scrambling look ridiculous. Your light, subtle but unyielding, shines straight through their performance, and suddenly the stage isn't fun anymore. Some people think they hate you. What they really hate is how they feel about themselves when you're around. You force them to see the things they've spent years running from, their own insecurity, their own duplicity, their own emptiness. You don't expose them. The mirror does. You didn't choose to be this mirror, but the universe molded you into it because only the chosen can handle that weight. Ask yourself, how many times have you been blamed for someone else's discomfort? How many times have you walked into a room and watched people either level up or melt down? That's not ego, that's energy. You're a human lie detector, a walking truth serum. People either evolve in your orbit or they escape as fast as they can, hoping to find comfort in the shadows you refuse to enter. And don't ever let them convince you that it's your job to make them comfortable. The power of being chosen means you are not here to soothe broken egos. You are not here to dim your light so their shadows feel safe. You are here to rise, to illuminate, to remind the world what authenticity really looks like. It's not your fault that others aren't ready for it. It's not your job to shrink so they don't have to face their own reflection. Sometimes your peace will agitate their demons. Sometimes your quiet will shout louder than any insult ever could. Let it. That's the job of a mirror, to show what is, not what people pretend to be. You'll watch people flinch, deflect, get angry, make you the villain in their stories, all because you dared to stand still and hold the truth up to their faces. That's the cost of being chosen. That's the price of carrying light where others carry shadows. Remember, not everyone will survive their own reflection. Some will choose to evolve, to break open, to grow into the space your presence creates. These are the ones who will respect you, thank you, even if it takes years to admit. But most, they'll run. They'll lie about you. They'll try to shatter the mirror, not realizing the cracks are on their own faces. So let them flee, let them talk, let them call you cold, distant, intimidating. You know what you are, a walking mirror made by the universe itself. And as long as you keep showing up, keep reflecting the truth, you're fulfilling your purpose at a level they can only fear or respect. You are the mirror they can't break, the truth they can't mute, the reflection they can't escape. And that, chosen one, is a force so powerful that only the brave can stand in it. Number 6. You're the wild card in a deck full of jokers, and they can't stand it. Here's the truth. Nothing scares the puppeteers more than a puppet that cuts its own strings. That's what you've done. Restraint has sculpted you into the wild card, the unpredictable force in a world obsessed with guessing every outcome. Your enemies used to study you like an open book, reading every page, circling every weakness. But now, that book's written in a language they'll never learn. You're unreadable, and that shakes them to their core. You don't move just to move. You don't dance for their approval or react just because they poke. You're beyond their reach, immune to the cheap tricks that once triggered you. You've killed off your own impulses, starved the knee-jerk reactions that once made you predictable, easy to play, easy to trap. Now, every move you make is deliberate, every silence a strategy, every step forward loaded with purpose, and those still living off drama and chaos, they have no idea how to handle it. Understand this. Restraint is a weapon most people will never learn to wield. It's the mark of someone who's survived enough storms to know not every thunderclap deserves a response. You don't rush into the fire anymore. You watch, you measure, you wait. You let the dust settle, the truth reveal itself, and then, when the time is right, you move. Not with noise, not with drama, but with an impact that leaves no doubt about who really runs the show. That's what drives them mad. They can't get a read on you. You've become the shadow on the wall, the variable that messes up their entire plan. You're the calm before the earthquake, the silence before the storm. While they scramble for control, for certainty, for a pattern to follow, you break every pattern, rewrite every rule. You are the question mark they can't erase, the unsolvable riddle at the center of their insecurity. They want you loud, they want you messy, they want you reactive, because that's how they win, but you refuse. Your restraint is the ultimate rebellion. It's what separates the chosen from the crowd. They want to know where you'll go, what you'll say, how you'll strike back, but you keep them guessing. You're a locked vault in a world of loose lips and open wounds. Think about it. In every room, the person everyone is trying to figure out is the one with the real power. That's you. You don't volunteer your thoughts, your pain, your plans. You let people talk themselves in circles, expose their hands, while you stay 10 steps ahead. Your unpredictability is your fortress, impenetrable, unscalable, and unbreakable. And when you do finally move, it's not for show, it's not a performance, it's a calculated strike, clean, precise, impossible to ignore. The ones trying to control you never see it coming. They're left rattled, exposed, searching for the next clue, while you've already slipped through the cracks and claimed the next victory. It's not just what you do, it's what you don't do that haunts them. The world will try to shame you for your restraint. They'll call you cold, aloof, even arrogant, but don't flinch. Don't let their confusion trick you into coming down to their level. Remember, restraint isn't weakness. It's the loudest statement you can make. It's proof that your emotions serve you, not the other way around. They can't predict you, and that makes you the most powerful person in any room. The person who can't be played is the only one who can't be beaten. When you mastered restraint, you broke the system they rely on to keep everyone small. Now, you're the glitch in their matrix, the one anomaly that ruins every calculation. So embrace it. Don't water down your unpredictability to make others comfortable. Don't let anyone convince you that silence isn't power. In a world where everyone's selling their secrets for attention, yours are worth more than gold. You're the wild card in a deck full of jokers, the mystery that can't be solved, the force no one saw coming. This is what being chosen feels like. You don't have to announce your moves, because your silence is already rewriting the game. You're on another level, and they can't stand the view from below. Let them guess. Let them worry. Let your restraint be the thunder they hear long before the storm hits. And remember, unpredictability isn't just protection, it's domination. When they realize they'll never figure you out, that's the day they finally accept they'll never beat you. And that, chosen one, is power at its purest. Number 7. When you walked off, the whole show collapsed, and now they're left in the dark. They never understood who was holding it all together. For so long, you stood in the spotlight, not for applause, not for attention, but because if you didn't, the whole production would grind to a halt. You were the silent backbone, the quiet director behind the curtain, the glue binding the chaos into something that almost looked like order. The crowd cheered for the drama, never realizing you were the only one keeping the stage from burning to the ground. But every performer knows when the act is over, and you, chosen one, you walked off the stage. No curtain call, no final bow, just a silent exit. And that silence hit harder than any applause could ever echo. That's when the true show started, and it wasn't a comedy or a triumph. It was panic, scrambling, a house of cards collapsing in real time. You stopped performing. You stopped being available for the ungrateful, for the ones who only noticed your presence when it served their needs. The same voices that once called for you to do more, be more, give more, suddenly found themselves screaming into a void. Because when you left, you took more than just your energy. You took the foundation, the scaffolding, the whole damn script. People always think the loudest are the most important. But when you fell silent, the silence was deafening. Their chaos used to bounce off your calm. Their insecurities found relief in your reliability. Their failures got covered by your sacrifices. You were the safety net, the rescue line, the steady pulse behind every so-called success. And now that you're gone, every flaw and crack is exposed in raw daylight. They used to take your presence for granted, like the stagehand that keeps the lights on, unseen but essential. Now that you've stepped into the shadows, the whole production stutters and stalls. There's no one left to direct the play, no one to steady the scenery, no one to quietly patch up the broken pieces backstage. The show goes on, but now it's just noise. Chaotic, desperate, pointless noise. And that noise is panic, not celebration. Your absence is their reckoning. They're forced to sit with the reality they spent so long avoiding. Your silence is a mirror reflecting their emptiness, the hollowness of the roles they played when you were the only one bringing substance. Without you, their scripts fall flat. Without you, the lights feel colder, the laughter emptier. They can no longer pretend that it was teamwork, that everyone contributed, because without you, nothing works. Let's get brutally honest. They never wanted you to realize your power. They needed you to believe you were just another actor, replaceable, nothing special. But the moment you walked out, you exposed the entire illusion. The emperor has no clothes, and now the whole kingdom knows it. That's the secret power of being chosen, the strength to disappear and watch the whole world scramble for what they never valued. Some will beg you to return. Some will get angry, blame you for everything falling apart. Don't let that guilt in. Remember, you didn't leave them empty. They were empty all along. You simply stopped filling a void that was never yours to fill. The universe didn't choose you to be everyone's backup plan. The universe chose you to build, to lead, to lift. And sometimes the highest calling is to walk away, to let the false supports crumble so something real can rise in its place. If you ever doubt your impact, look at the chaos that follows your silence. If you ever wonder if your quiet exit mattered, listen to the panic in their voices. When the chosen one leaves, the difference isn't just felt. It's undeniable, unmissable, unforgettable. The ones who took you for granted will try to rewrite history, to act as if nothing's changed. But the truth is written in every awkward silence, every broken promise, every failed attempt to recreate what only you could provide. So don't regret stepping away. Don't mourn for the show that only survived on your sacrifice. Let the stage fall apart. Let the curtains close. You're on another level now. Your absence is a message, a final act that needs no words. The universe saw your worth even when they refused to. Now, let them feel the difference. Let them see that sometimes the loudest noise comes from the silence that follows when a chosen one walks away. Number 8. You're written in a code. Only the evolved can read, and they're locked out. You've become a living cipher. Your energy, your decisions, your entire existence, it's all encrypted now, and most people don't have the key. Your life used to be an open book, easy for anyone to skim, judge, and dissect. Not anymore. You're not writing in the language of old wounds and empty promises. Now, everything about you is in a code that only the real ones, the authentic, the evolved, can even begin to understand. That's the price and the privilege of growth. You stopped explaining yourself because explanations were always wasted on ears determined not to hear. Now you move in silence, fully aligned, not just with your words, but with your actions and your soul. Your life has become a message written between the lines, and the fakes keep squinting, lost, frustrated, desperate for the translation. People say you've changed, and for once, they're absolutely right. They just can't comprehend the transformation. They're still living in a dialect of dysfunction, speaking the language of trauma bonding, of shared misery, of cycles that go nowhere. You're not fluent in that anymore. You speak growth now. You speak resilience, purpose, alignment, and they don't even recognize the sound. To them, your silence is arrogance, your distance is rejection, and your elevation is betrayal. Let them talk. Their confusion is not your crisis. Your code was never meant for people who refuse to evolve. The truth is, the more you rose, the more your frequency scrambled to the unauthentic, the small-minded, the ones addicted to gossip and chaos. Now, when you show up, they look for the old version of you, the one who tolerated nonsense, who explained every boundary, who apologized for existing too brightly. That version died, so this one could breathe. And this version doesn't need to be understood by those unwilling to understand themselves. You don't bond through dysfunction anymore. You don't need validation from the wounded who are committed to staying that way. You stopped speaking the language of pain and started speaking in solutions. You stopped handing out roadmaps to your heart for people who only wanted to get lost inside it. You stopped holding up mirrors for people who flinch at their own reflection. Now, only those who've endured their own evolution can stand next to you and actually see you. The world keeps demanding translations for a story you're not writing for them. You're not obligated to slow down your growth for anyone who refuses to level up. If they want to understand your journey, let them do the work. Let them decipher, let them struggle, let them sweat for the answer. Because the chosen one is not here to make everyone comfortable. The chosen one is here to be an example, a living proof that higher is possible, that change is necessary, that evolution is survival. Some will call you distant. Let them. Some will say you think you're better than everyone else. Let them. Your distance isn't arrogance, it's protection. Your silence isn't indifference, it's focus. The only people who see your true story are the ones who've written their own chapters in pain, in growth, in courage. These people see your code and immediately recognize the signature. They know what it took, they know what it cost, and they respect what it means. You're not hard to read, you're just too real for those who are stuck in fiction. You're not complicated, you're just rare. Only those who have leveled up will see your moves and understand exactly what game you're playing. The rest? Let them scroll, let them guess, let them gossip. The price of admission to your new world is growth, and not everyone is willing to pay. So stop wasting energy on the ones who only understand old versions of you. Stop trying to explain your code to the uninitiated. If they can't read the language of evolution, they were never meant to travel with you past chapter 1. The universe elevated you, encrypted you, and now your story is a secret only the worthy will ever decipher. Remember, you're not here to be relatable, you're here to be legendary. The higher you go, the fewer people can read your frequency, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. You are the code, you are the key. Let the real ones find you, let the rest get lost in translation. Number 9, you don't announce, you impact, and now the room has to catch up. You've leveled up so far that announcements are beneath you. No more warning shots, no more narrating your next move, no more explaining yourself to ears that never listened in the first place. Now, you move in silence, and every step is a ripple the world can't ignore. People feel your transformation before you ever open your mouth. Your very presence forces the atmosphere to shift. Watch how the room recalibrates, how old energies retreat, how masks drop without you saying a word. You used to offer casual access, but now your presence is earned, not given. The old doors are closed, and only the real, only the authentic, even get a chance to knock. People can't approach you the same way. They sense there's a new standard, a higher frequency, and you don't bend for comfort or convenience. The message is clear. You don't just show up, you shift the script. You've become undeniable, and they have no choice but to adapt or disappear. Let them talk. Let them speculate. Let them invent stories to fill the gaps where your explanations used to be. That's not your problem anymore. You don't owe anyone an inside look at your elevation. You owe yourself the discipline to stay aligned and keep moving forward. You don't warn, you don't announce, you arrive. And when you do, the game changes, the room realigns, and everyone has to face the new reality. The chosen one has entered, and the impact is silent, but it echoes forever. And as we reach the end, let this truth sink in. The universe didn't choose you to fit in. It chose you to change the entire atmosphere wherever you go. Keep operating on that higher level. Let your actions speak, and never let anyone dull your frequency. If you felt this message, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop the number 77 in the comments to let us know you're part of this chosen wave. And don't forget to share this with another chosen one who needs the reminder, because silent impact is the loudest legacy.